Oh no. And we're back.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Selena.
I'm Bella.
And this is
Cozy
Cozy
Psych.
I mean, we're not in the cozy confines of my room. Sorry, we're slipping a little bit today. We're not in the cozy confines of my room, but we are out and about, but it's still cozy.
Feeling cozy.
It's tea time.
It's jammy time.
It's
Cozy Psych time. What the fudge?
Oh my gosh.
That was amazing.
Yeah, this is like our third time doing the intro after
Maybe.
many technical difficulties today.
Thank God.
Anyway, so yeah, like we were out and about just having fun,
Having
doing
girl
Girls'
time.
Day.
Yeah.
And I think we just kind of like talked about and thought of.
Behavioral activation.
Yeah, like, and it's a fancy term that we'll kind of get into a bit later. But basically, it's a technique that we use in therapy to help people who feel really demotivated, depressed, to jumpstart out of the depressed physiological state into doing and feeling better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why do we recommend this for people who experience, for example, depressive symptoms such as demotivation, anhedonia, maybe fatigue, a lack of
depressive
sleep?
symptoms. These are depressive symptoms.
Yeah.
Like, anhedonia, like not enjoying or engaging in things that you usually like to do.
Yeah.
Again, like Bella said, feeling really sleepy, feeling really tired.
Or sometimes you just
demotivated.
can't get up out of bed or even take a shower. And sometimes these are things that people really struggle with when they're dealing with depressive symptoms. And why we like to recommend this for people who are experiencing these symptoms is because sometimes it's hard to wait for motivation, especially when there is no motivation.
Exactly. We can, especially if we're depressed, right? Like, first of all, if you should really seek professional help or therapy, or in case your depression, these depressive symptoms have lasted more than 2 weeks, and if you're having thoughts of self-harm, but if you're noticing yourself falling into the cycle of not wanting to do anything and ending up not wanting to do anything,
and maybe frustrated with yourself because you just can't do anything, you don't want to do it, and you don't feel like doing anything, maybe don't be so hard on yourself. Because it happens.
It's really a cycle.
It really happens, and it's real for everyone, not even just people with depression. Some people just on an average day maybe just don't feel like getting up that day. You're just so tired, and this is out for people who are, all of you out there who kind of need a little bit of behavioral activation.
You don't have to do it just if you're like clinically depressed, right? That's what you're trying to say, Belle. It's like if you're just feeling low and you kind of just want to not feel so low anymore, a great way to do this is to just force yourself honestly to do things even though it's the last thing you want to do. And that's why we call it behavioral activation, because we activate ourselves out of the depressive state by doing things, by through our actions.
Not waiting for the motivation, but allowing the motivation or the feelings to come after as a result of the behavior. So why we're doing this video is we want to show you a few examples of what we personally do. Because personally, even as people who are practicing psychology, we still go through these things. And we also need behavioral activation ourselves. And so these are some of the things we do. We want to share some of these because maybe it might help you. Sharing is caring, after all.
Definitely. So even therapists have to take care of ourselves. And who are we again? We are graduate clinical and counseling psychology interns. So we're we're psychologists in training. So
aspiring psychologists.
Yeah. So if you like this kind of content, like just chatting about, everyday fun topics in a casual way, maybe, in
with a mix of psychology
serious way, but still with a mix of psychology in there, then consider, liking,
subscribing, hitting that notification bell.
We would really appreciate it. We would really love you.
Please, just do it.
And join us as we go along our psychology journey. So
here are a few examples.
Oh wait, before we get into that, actually, so 3 types of ways or 3 types of activities that you can do to behaviorally activate. One is to do activities that give you a sense of enjoyment, right? Give you a sense of joy. 2,
doing things that are meaningful,
give you a sense of accomplishment too, right? Like reading a book or finishing a project you haven't picked up in a long time. And the third is seeking social connection. It might be the last thing you want to do, but I'll kind of share later in a bit, like present our ways of doing it in an expectation versus reality kind of way. Like, we can feel like we want to do a lot of things, but when we're depressed, it's kind of hard to do. So, how do we scale it back a bit and make it more attainable and realistic?
So here's some examples. Woo!
So, behavioral activation, expectation versus reality. What do we mean by that? Like an example of that expectation, you want to establish social connection because that would really help you, and obviously social connection is shown to be very meaningful for human lives and moods. So you might make it a goal or try to expect yourself to maybe attend a party or see people every single day, when in reality, to scale it back down a bit, you might just spend time with a person that you really trust and care about, where spending time with them doesn't feel like you're really exerting yourself too much. Maybe like spending time with your best friend, even if it's not a whole day, it could just be 30 minutes, a cup of coffee, and you'd be surprised at how much that could improve your mood. Right, Bells? It hasn't just been 30 minutes though. My best friend here, spending time with my best friend here. Glorious.
I guess for my example for behavioral activation, I think one that really comes up to my mind was one of my clients. So she's a very artistic person, very creative. And I guess this goes out for all of you creatives out there. And I'm definitely one of those. Sometimes there's that pressure on ourselves that to just do the things that we used to enjoy, like, I don't know, painting. For some of you, dancing. For some of you, singing. But then when you start doing it, and it's just hours, and it just feels so tiring, it doesn't feel fun anymore. Maybe instead of doing a full-blown painting, maybe instead of practicing a full dance, what you can just do is take a picture. Take a picture of something you enjoy and look back at that picture. How did that make you feel at that time? Where were you? Who were you with at that time? So that's something that can maybe activate just a little bit of joy. The expectation is not to suddenly become a happy person all over again, right? Just what we need is just a little seed of joy.
Another expectation for yourself, if you want to like behaviorally activate by getting physical, doing some physical activity, instead of aiming for going to a spin class, if you've never or you haven't exercised in such a long time, or lift weights, have a full weight training session even though you haven't exercised or picked up or even gone out of your house in a really long time, maybe the answer is just to take a leisurely walk and just get the blood flowing, get the endorphins flowing, and yeah, that's what I do actually.
Oh, hello there. So I'm actually reading this book over here, The Little Prince, and I'm not really feeling like it right now. Sometimes it happens. So what we like to recommend for people with regards to behavioral activation is sometimes you don't have to put pressure on yourself to finish the entire book because it can be long. What you can do is just maybe read a few lines, the first few lines, try it out, and then pat yourself on the back for a job well done. Are we activating? Activation time? Activation.
Activate.